Blessed Virgin Mary. Now, Mary is a significant character in the Catholic religious world. Based upon Catholic dogma, Mary is a queen. So they have the memorial of the queenship of the Blessed Virgin Mary. And it's a good time perhaps to speak about women. Every opportunity I get, I like to speak about women, you know. Because I think it's so important. When our women gets it right, the country is on a good plateau. When we help our women to get it right, our country is better off. Our children is definitely better off. So we must not run away from that fact that we have to get it right. And one of the ways of getting it right is to constantly hold discussion. So we have a culture where our women gets it right. I've been in a serious discussion with some women of the higher end of the scale. You know, we have women in the lower end of the scale, and we have women in the high end of the scale. In yesteryear, we might have said the uppity class. But today, we are on the higher end of the scale. How would you know you're on the higher end of the scale? Well, if your earnings, your income, is more than $3,000 a month, you're in the higher end of the scale. If your income is lower than $3,000, you're poor, you're vulnerable, you're in the lower end of the scale. So that discussion I had with some women in the upper end of the scale. They're paying tax. They're making more than $3,000 a month. And we were in a long, heated discussion about independent women. Speaking to, they say they are independent women. And I always ask, what is an independent woman? Particularly when that independent woman have a relationship. What we mean by independent woman? How does an independent woman function? And what is most interesting, we had a lot of discussion with the men too, because men have a difficulty understanding the independence of a woman. When a woman says she's independent, what she means? Does it mean that she qualified to pay the bills in the house? Or to share the bills half-half? Women don't like to pay all bills. Even if they have discretionary income, they pay half. So you find situation now, particularly with people in the higher end of the scale. That means you're owing more than $3,000 a month. You're paying personal income tax. If you're not in that category, you're vulnerable. Economically, you are vulnerable. You're poor. You need assistance. But if you on the high end of the scale, then you're in a different category. And the discussion, how does an independent woman function? Quite a lot of them have their own vehicles, and they say they're independent. So the difficulties sometimes is not the woman. The difficulties sometimes is the man understanding what she means when she says she's independent. More often than not, man can tell him nothing. Independent. I go where I want. I do what I want. I don't need to ask your permission to do anything. And nothing is wrong with that. Nothing is wrong. I'm not blaming women for that position. The men have difficulties in understanding what you mean by that. So in one situation, they share all the bills in the house. They're buying down to the gas buying. They're buying gas at alternate months. And both parties have a car. The woman have she car, the man have his car. I tell you things so bad, they don't even live using same mechanic. They are different mechanic. And the bills share in the house. So when time for that, the woman brings, she go and get your cylinder, she buys your car. And they have 2 children. I ask them if they save the children too. If they share the children too. Well, they have an arrangement. Who buy what for the children? And they're living in the same house. And they're having some conflict, you know. Because sometimes when the woman say you going and you don't say nothing and you're not coming back, the man say, well, when you go, you doesn't tell me where you're going. But she say, I just come back. You see the challenge we have. And that's why I believe these people who claim they're independent, they should sit down and have discussion and work out the details of their independency before they declare the independency. There is a school of thought that says when you're independent, you just recognize how much you need people. Even the United States of America today needs solidarity. China needs solidarity. Russia needs solidarity. All these colonial masters want solidarity. And that is some of the challenge they have in Africa, because all of them want Africa to support them. Some people are accusing ECOWAS of being in the hands of Europe, while other African countries in the hand of Russia and China. So if these big superpowers need solidarity and it needs friends, how come a man and a woman living in a house claim they're independent? And it has serious drawbacks, particularly when the children are involved. Because they grow up in a home with a mother that is independent and a father that's trying to understand what the woman's independence is. More often than not, the man knows what his independence is, you know. He could go and come any hour. He could go in the shop and drink rum. And he could come home. And when the wife packs her vehicle, when she come home, he take the vehicle and go. The woman says, well, where you going with the transport? It's my transport. She says she had to go out. She says, it's a car. Why are you going out for again? You come inside already. And all sort of wrangling takes place. We live in a society where we have a lot of psychologists, a lot of sociologists. But more often than not, they shy away from giving public advice. They like to give advice in office where you must pay. So you would not hear them on radio speaking like me. Perhaps they could have helped. A lot of people calling on the church. Every time they're in problem, they call on the church. Or how the church could help you when you're staying away from the church. I think it's important that we hold those discussions, particularly as one of the religious groups that I tend to gravitate to, memorial of the queenship of the Blessed Virgin Mary. One guy saying she is royal, I think is Ross, saying that the woman is royal. I always forget his name when I speak about it. And today we see in our society a lot of put down of women, even in our songs, in our expressions. We tend to show contempt for quite a lot of women. One of my sisters calls it body bashing. That's a new word. I like that word, body bashing. Ask her what she means by that. She said they're criticizing women when they forget their clothes home. I like the terminology. If a woman forgets your clothes home, you don't have to be angry at her. She forget it. Next time what you do, you encourage her to remember that she need to put on clothes when she go into the public, because there are standards. When you go in the courthouse, you have a standard. When you're in parliament, you have a standard. So maybe when you're on the beach, you have a different standard. If you go in a funeral, you don't want to be more attractive than the dead people. So everybody concentrating on you and everybody forget the dead. You could be a distraction. So there are, different sense of dress and etc. But women, the queenship of the Blessed Virgin Mary, must remind our women also that they are queens. And they are chiefly responsible for being the vessel that help to propagate our species. And any man that is proud of himself wants to make more. And you could only make more if a woman say yes. So the woman is a vessel that helps the world to propagate its own. So we right to put her in a particular queenship. But the challenge that we have is the independency of women. What do we mean by that? And I believe we must have discussion, particularly with young people who are thinking about entering into relationship. What you understand by an independent woman. Because I'm telling you, it has some serious challenges for young couple, particularly when they start to own more than $3,000. They have money. $3,000 a month is $36,000 a year. But that you have to start to pay tax. So they have financial independence. And what that means. And in a lot of instances, even if the men have financial independence too, like or more than the woman, they start to share bills. Because he believes when the woman say she independent, means she want to pay her fair share of the bills in the house. So we need discussion on that. And we need young women. When you enter in a relationship, it's always important to find out from the man what he understands by independent woman. An independent woman don't have to cook. She don't have to wash. She don't have to be a homemaker. Everybody could eat in the restaurant. If you all don't have children, it's all right. All of you all could eat in restaurants and eat in shop, and there is absolutely no need for any facilities in the home. But sometimes you're amazed at what causes the most problems in relationship. And in my research, one of them is the difficulties men have. Remember, I didn't say woman. The difficulties men have in understanding the workability of an independent woman in a home. And I always challenge women to make certain that discussion is held. You see a lot going on for us now. We have the independence of women in relationship. And once you're in a relationship, both parties have to give up some of their independence. You cannot have two independent people want to live as a unit. You also have the feminists and other issues that say, my body is mine. I could do what I want with my body. It's mine. Nobody can tell me what to do with my body. A lot of men understand that too. So if the woman put yellow or green hair, they tell her you looking nice. If she put 5 wire in she nose, the man say you looking nice. Quite a lot of men, particularly during hunting season, they don't complain about the woman. It's not that they don't please, It's not that they please, but they don't complain. So if she have 5 wire in she nose, and she have hair from Brazil. Sometimes they have 4 or 5 different hair in the head one time. One fella tell me while he was in Sinner's Choice, when he lie down on the bed with his woman, he does believe it's 5 women that day. He say he believe the woman is encouraging to have multiple partners. Because she have a piece of Indian hair, she have hair from China, hair from Brazil, and she still have where there's some people natural hair. Some people grow their hair and they go and cut it and sell it. And then she have some wire in her nose. And he say he want no conflict. So he tell her she looking well nice. You see, these things are important. Because here we have the independence of women, and nothing is wrong with that. But men have difficulties. The men that have the difficulty, they have difficulties understanding the workability of the independence of women in a relationship. Then we have the view that my body belongs to me. I could do what I want with it. So the man believes he could drink rum, he could smoke weed and cigarette, and some even could take coke. Nobody can tell him nothing because his body is his. He could don't bathe if he want, smell like a ram goat, because it's his body. And the woman believes her body is hers. So she could commit abortion with impunity. And you have pro-choice, massive organizations in the world, powerful organizations encouraging abortion. I tell people, don't worry too much about Europe. Europe is aborting itself away into a minority. A lot of the white people in Europe, they are aborting themselves away. Particularly from academia. Academia is the worst for that. See, sometimes, although they are very intelligent, they have one child. Sometimes they make that child when they are 30, 40 years. Around that time, it is the possibility that you make a Mongol or half a child increases. But that is the time they make it. And among the black people, you have this growing culture, particularly out of Africa. Africa have the most among the young people in the world. Africa still making some children. They have the most among the young people in the world. And the future for Africa seems very good. But black women, they start to make children the latest, perhaps in all race. Some ethnic group, not in all, but in some ethnic group. They start to make children the latest. And I'm talking particularly those who are academically, I don't like the word academically inclined, but have the opportunity to be well poised to be academia. Latest, they start to have children. And as a result of that, by the time you reach the age of retirement, you have all sorts of problems and challenge because you did not make more. As you climb the ladder, you refuse to make more. And more often than not, the relationship you start with destroyed on that climb. You may not see the problem now, but in discussion you're going to recognize. A small country like Grenada, perhaps they have the most home for the aged in the Caribbean. Grenada have the most home for the aged in the Caribbean. And you're going to find more. More people have to go in homes. A lot of elderly people have to go in homes. You might ask why that is important. We always have a level of insensitivity to the elderly, the physically challenged, and the weak in any society. In any society, the elderly, the physically challenged, and the weak is the most vulnerable group. But when you develop a culture in your country and you have individuals say, my body is in mine, and you have individuals propagating abortion, and you have a level of insensitivity in your society that is now institutionalized, maybe then you can see the challenge. Yes, caller, welcome.
Yes, good afternoon, Mr. Pierre. Good discussion, and I believe we should continue talking about that area that you're talking about. And I want to throw in my 2 cents, when you look at the historical development of women, on earth, coming from the primitive society, then to the slavery, and when you look at the emergence of the state, because we know about the colonial powers here, and we know the role that women must play in many at the homes, looking after children, while the men go hunting and fishing, etc. And then with the emergence of the state, and I must put on record, so Eric Matthew Gary, who make that open that avenue so that women can become more of working class, and from the state right down, permanent secretaries, etc., and even at the homes, wherever there may be, there was opportunities available so that women can get involved, and there was a lot of respect, a lot of respect for people, women, men. There was a lot of respect. But since the emergence of the upper class, the middle class, and then the low-income bracket people, there is this kind of smear and disdain. And even today, when you look at the political parties coming down the road, the GLP come right down, the NNP, and even the NDC, as you will see, which of the parties that care for the low-income bracket people. And the history there is there. And look as it is now. And I must, in closing, more or less give the New National Party that credit for allowing all these women in the parliament working together with the men to bring social and economic benefits to our people. And as this is now, I want to stay on record that I want to compliment. I heard Honorable Emmeline Pierre on a program this morning, and I want to, congratulate her, because she was speaking about the crime situation, and she was speaking about that low-income bracket people with many of our parents now. When you look at the status, heading back to the children going back to school now, and it's really, really disturbing. So I want to say the low-income bracket people, the 150 that was taken off, and most of our women are suffering, especially the less fortunate ones, like the elderly and those disabled and so on. Sorry to see. And even the children from some of the parents who are lost their jobs and might be, having some hardships now to see how they could get a school bag or to the getting, and you're not hearing the Minister of Education come in and speak about that voucher program, or you hear the Minister of Works, the Prime Minister, talk about the bushing program, and all that was social programs to to upgrade or assist the the, the, the school children go back to school where they can upgrade their educational background and dream higher and more. So I want to congratulate Mrs. Pierre again, and I call on all the MPs, the female MPs, working with the men, our leader of the opposition, continue standing up for our poor people and our people, all the peoples, to bring justice, economic, social, and moral, outlook to engage them, to understand where they are, and to call on the government to do the likewise to bring benefits to the people. Thank you.
Yes, sister. You see, sometimes we as well as if it's surprise. There are things taking place in the society, a number of things taking place. And when eventually you start to see calamities and other issues, we do as if we're surprised. If we have a society where, for the first time, you could clearly define, you could clearly see that we have a group of people at the helm that is desensitized. They're very detached. They're not very supportive of social programs that helps and aids the people in the lower income. While you have that, you have people in the higher income bracket. And I don't know if it's because the government does give them a tax break, but they believe that they are much better than others in the lower income. While that is taking place, more and more you have women who believe I'm independent. I'm independent now, and the independency is as a result of the economic achievement. And you have men who have difficulties understanding what they mean, the workability, the practicality of their independence. This is going on in the world. When you have powerful organization supporting pro-choice, if you're pregnant and you want to get rid of your child, they say you're right. Countries say you're right. You're right to kill the child, abort the child, because your body belongs to you. Now, these things taking place in a big country, you may take long to see the impact. But when you're in a small country like Grenada, the policy of a government could have devastating consequences if they meet other elements that supports it. And I think this is where I say these things to provoke discussion. You have a government that attacks social programs. You have a government that attacks the elderly. You have a government that is hostile towards people in the lower income group, but more the physically challenged and disadvantaged children. So the government the government is practically taking the lead against the most vulnerable group in our country. So more and more, you could have people desensitized. You have individuals who have a lot of followers on social media and on the radio because they're very powerful. They're very influential. When you listen to their language, it's frightening. If you have powerful, popular, and well-respected individuals propagating the view that people is described as nasty people, while that is taking place, you have a desensitized government that seems to be detached. And more, you have some of our women consider themselves independent, and nothing is wrong with economic independency. My challenge is the men don't understand the workability. So there is unnecessary conflicts in the home. The woman says she want the man to bring the gas. He said it is not my turn to buy gas. So he ain't buying gas, he ain't bringing gas. The woman vehicle breakdown. Because if you making just over $3,000 a month, you hardly could pay bus, much less to maintain vehicle. But she in a different economic grouping. And because she vehicle breakdown, the man says not his turn to buy gas. So she have to take the gas cylinder and hitchhike on the bus. And particularly when she a customer car, the whole village know car breakdown. And it is causing rumbling and grumbling in the home, and you have children in the house. So this is sometimes you wish you psychologists and you social scientists. Yes, caller, welcome.
Mr. Pierre, good afternoon.
Yes, good day.
Come hear each other.
Good.
What's up with you there? Who is that woman that has to bring that gas on you there?
No, we're just speaking about homes. You know, we have a lot of challenges in home, and we don't speak about it on radio.
Okay.
Some of those, sometimes people might call on individual situations, but you have homes where you have man and woman living in the house, and they share the bills.
Okay.
Because the woman have economic power, and they decide they're independent.
The only thing I called today and tell the government the weather is outside the dangerous. And they need to build that bridge in River Road and Hubbard Blaze Street, the bridge at the piece of road that fall off there. Don't we boast what we have and we're not doing what we have to do? Get up and get. All where you pass, you have a lot of little road bricks, and only they put in some yellow tie up, some yellow thing. Carnival done. Work have to start. Where is the voucher for them kids, for them parents and them? The voucher not talking about school opening. We need to hear that. Stop playing games with the people and do what we got to do. That's what I want to hear. Stop playing games. You give them 2 fortnights to go in carnival. You didn't give them 2 fortnights to multiply to do what they have to do for themselves. Come and spend it in carnival, and then they're not giving the voucher out. So the people outside there need the voucher. River Road need the bridge, and about Blaze Street need the bridge. Have a blessed day.
Yes, scholar. I always, and this is why I speak sometimes, people have to understand the National Democratic Congress. The Congress have always been against the social program. The Congress have always been against the debushing program. At one time they say plant color over the road. Some of the mouthpiece say, make all kind of alternative suggestion to clear by the road rather than employ people. People still expect the Congress to be giving people work by the road. This is not part of the policy of the Congress. Yes, caller, welcome.
Good afternoon, Mr.
Yes, my brother, welcome.
Yes, sir. I am calling on the religious leaders, the prayer warriors, all the hypocrites in this country that was saying that Dr. Mitchell too old and he should go. I am now calling on them to address sodomy in this land. It is a curse. It is something that our Heavenly Father condemns. He creates man and he creates the woman for the man. And he let us know it is an abomination for a man to sleep with man and for a woman to sleep with woman. There is nothing a man and a woman is and a woman could change her sex, that means you are telling our Heavenly Father that He's a liar. He's not speaking the truth when He tells us He only creates man and woman. And this nation is done for destruction. And the people of this nation need to repent and turn to God. And if they don't, destruction is coming on this nation. And all those hypocrites, remember, it was because of Dr. Mitchell's age. You said he should go. But no, what about the promoters of evil in this land? Those who are promoting sodomy. Our Heavenly Father said, if whenever He seeks to destroy a nation, if the people repent and turn from their wicked ways, He will relent. Prayer warriors, I'll condemn Dr. Mitchell for his age. Prayer warriors, pastors, hypocrites, it is time to repent. Let the nation know the truth. Turn from your wicked ways. Repent. And our Heavenly Father will have mercy on us. Thank you, sir.
Yes, scholar, and I always have to say to people that the secular world is seriously influencing policies of government. And people always call on religious leaders. And sometimes I ask them if they're going to church. Because some people are calling on religious leaders conveniently. And then you have some leaders conveniently, some religious personnel conveniently opening up their mouth. But you have to understand that governments today are seriously influenced by what's going on in the secular world. They seriously influence that. And United States of America is very, very powerful. And some of these churches are great lobbies. And some of this organization. Yes, caller, welcome.
Good afternoon.
Yes, my brother, welcome.
Mr. Pierre, we understand, and we heard in the news last night that a new Integrity in Public Life Committee has been reorganized, and that Miss Bristol, Carol Bristol's sister, is the new chairperson. The leader of the opposition is supposed to appoint one person. The Prime Minister appoint, and they make up, I don't know, I'm not too sure of the amount of persons that make up the committee. But I will hope as soon as they start to work, that the Integrity in Public Life Committee look into some of the problems or some of the things that was said earlier on. For instance, ministers that receive funding, we should look at that and see if they were qualified for the funding. You have a lot of integrity problems that is not looked at. The persons that was fired in Carriacou, that the Prime Minister say is just a handful of people. The integrity in public life should look at that. And any other matters with dealing with people that was wrongfully said should be looked into, I hope, by the integrity in public life. Because I don't believe that no government, NMP, NDC, should send home any worker because of their political support. If the person not doing the work and they're not doing the job, the government or the department have the right to get rid of them. But if a person supports a political party, they should never be sent home. So I'm hoping that based on the rules and regulations of the public life in integrity in public life, that they can broaden the scope to taking all those concerns. The person that get money from the bank, the person that we had problem with on the pier and the port some time ago, and we understand that the person was transferred. Now I agree in giving people a chance, right? People do something wrong, you give them a chance. But to this, we have not got a report as to what happened on the port. The integrity in public life must look into all that. We have not got a report. The marketing board fold up was told, it is said that by September it will be back. Next month is September. We have not seen a full report on the marketing board thing matter. All that must be looked at by that new board, I'm hoping. So I'm hoping that the person that the opposition leader is put in will be lobbying enough to get this group functioning in the right way. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you, caller. The integrity in public life is not for all of these things. And if you give them all that means you don't want them work. Because it's taking about 10 years to deal with all that. The integrity in public life will deal more with the politicians. Perhaps you could find out, maybe you may pressure them to find out if number 10 get $160,000 to jump up over the fence. And they may find out, the public may want to know if several members of the government that is involved in selling passport, if that is not tantamount to corruption. And maybe they may investigate the issue with the bank, if it is correct. But all the other thing about people losing job and all kind of thing, that is not for the integrity in public life. It is not for them. It is more have to do with the public figures. People who lose their job, they have trade union. They are represented by the trade union. And some of the trade union don't care about some of these people because they pay agency fee, but they are not members of the trade union per se. And some of them too poor to take lawyers. So they might have to go home and pray for our next government to come. But yes, it's a good that the government, the integrity committee, that they are re-establishing it, and that is good. You see, this government is turning the hand on the clock back, and we have to be extremely careful. I tend to concentrate on issues where they're dealing with the hostility against people in the lower income group, because it's so easy to abandon the lower income group. The two governments, the two prime ministers that fought for this group the most is Eric Gary and Keith Mitchell. And over the last 10 years, I thought they had a very good team of politicians that was very sensitive to the cries of the people in the lower income group and did quite a lot for them. Create a buffer so they will not bruise on the ground. The social programs, the money programs, the amount of infrastructural work that was done. Never forget 10,000 toilets to raise the bar, the most amount of scholarship ever given in any period of time was during that period of time. The St. George's University named the prime minister, either the president of education or prime minister of education or something, because they lobby seriously for Grenadians, ordinary Grenadians, educating yourself. These things sometimes doesn't seem tangible, and you don't see it and you don't hear about it, but that is significant. And then we have a political group now that is extremely insensitive to the cries of the people in the lower income group. And while that is going on, you have international group lobbying to introduce alien subject matter in our school system. And while that is going on, you have individuals who believe they are much better than the ordinary person. And that's my concern. And when you reach even within the family, you have children who have parents who doesn't understand that they are a unit. When you live together, when you come together, you need to work as a unit. Not about who independent and who not independent. That's a bag of baloney. And you have organization in our country. Well, I don't hear Gino now. Maybe Gino no longer now active. But you could have organization advising people about economic unity in the home, about working together. Some of the very individuals who should be advocating it, when you listen to them, they are the ones that are advocating the independence. And you have some men who don't understand the workability of women independence. When you take all these things into consideration, and you have a government like the one we have, it could serve as a catalyst for destruction. It could serve as a catalyst for destruction. Remember a couple years ago, our teachers in the school would walk the rule. I remember saying that the impact of the teachers walk the rule then will get 5 or 10, 15 years from now. And I believe if we continue on that trajectory, we will have more social decay, more violence. Today we have all our women, all our magistrates, I understand, are women now. So we compounding a lot of things taking place here. It creeping in the society quietly. All our magistrates now, I understand, are women. But I still believe there is hope in them. Most of the women are family women. They have husbands, they have children. But in the future, we're going to have women that have no man. Independent women. And the majority of individuals that come before them, who come afoul of the law, would be men. I always encourage young intellectuals. If I had the power, I would have made all the 9 members of this government visit the mental institute, go and pay a visit to the Richmond Hill home, and visit the prison to see if I could evoke some compassion in them, ability to empathize, to make them more sensitive to some of the challenges that we have. I would have encouraged anybody that wants to be a magistrate, before I appoint them as a magistrate, a permanent secretary, any head of a department, they must go and visit the mental institute. They must go and visit the prison. And they must go and visit the Richmond Hill home. Some of them might see their parents there. Sometimes when they get so bright, they ain't bothering parents. We have the most home for the aged in the Caribbean. Remember what happened a couple years ago? About 10 or 14 people died in one home. Because we say jab are right. Jab have rights. So jab go play mass. The people were infected. The people never go in the activity, you know. They were elderly people. About 10 to 14 or 15 of them dead. And I understand one elderly man, when he see people dying, so he leave home. They say only some women go and look for him. I said the police never go and look for him. And if the police challenge me, I want them to tell us what they did. I know they must drive their vehicle in the road. I ain't giving them no credence for that. We becoming a very hard people. We're treating our elderly, the physically challenged, and the weak in our society are badly treated by us individuals. And no, what is frightening, we have a government that seems to be institutionalizing that very climate, that very attitude. So you could find things catapulting very quickly. And sometimes we close our eyes. Sometimes that is politics too, you know. That politics affect all of us. Not only a desensitized government, not only a detached government. When an individual is funded by financial institutions and companies to consider a certain category of Grenadians as nasty people. That's supposed to be concern for us. Yes, caller, welcome.
Mr. Pierre, good afternoon.
Yes, caller, welcome.
Don't let me have to call you over and over about that. Stop saying the 9 members. Well, you have a number 10, but you have the people who are influencing the country, the government. Some of them are not elected. Who make up the cabinet? So this is the cabinet as the issue. Not the 9 people who has been elected. The mistake was made already, fine. But understand that issue and be consistent about that. Stop saying about 9 people. The most influential of the 9 people, the Prime Minister. The most influential of the others who belong to what creates confusion in this country. The worst confusion we ever had. Because I've been there monitoring all these things. I'm a writer. I'm a commentating person on issues. Clara Joseph was not elected. She was not a part of the process. She's given a position that is the most influential based on the constitution that we end up having. The most dumb constitution we end up having, actually. Mr. Pierre, put that in perspective to the extent that you stop saying the 9 elected people. Yes, the process goes where the election happens, and they are there as part of it. Here we have a problem with the education situation that we end up now having. The man who is the Minister for Health, he's part of that. He's a pastor in this churchism that teach people the most dumb set of nonsense in this country. So that's the problem we have, that we need to rectify. Mr. Pierre, I can't stay for too long, and if I talk too much, they might get back to me. Take care.
All right. Thank you, caller. You have a caller on the line. Welcome.
Mr. Pierre, good evening, and good evening to the listening public.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Pierre, I heard a newly elected minister in government said that there is no poor people in this country. And to confirm that, another one said the needy and greedy call poor people in this country needy and greedy. And I am very upset about that statement that these ones are making in this country. That is why the policy of this government is no longer catering to the less fortunate, those that could barely survive when the day comes. So that's why those children are going to be suffering, because they have no heart, no mercy, and poor people, because they consider them not poor, they are rich like them. And what you think happened? Since they get into office, they didn't start to work good yet. An increase of the money was granted to them. And these are some of the concerns. That's why 2 fortnights in 8 months was granted to these people to clean the sides of the road here, because they have no conscience, they have no feelings, they have no heart, and no one is expecting to hear people talk good about this government. No one. And those who is talking, they are saying, give them a chance to continue to hurt people. I am not finished yet, but I have a lot more to talk, but it looks as time is against us. Mm-hmm. Yeah, thank you very much.
Yes. I think sometimes we water down the impact of parliamentary representative. When you put up yourself for power, when you go to the community and ask people to vote for you, I take that role significant. You are in parliament, and I'm serious, I don't joke with this group of people. You didn't go and tell the people you're going because you want to make money. You go to the front the door and pledge to help to change their life and to do better than the government. This is why I consider the 9 of them as vultures. I see them as vultures, not Claude Joseph. Claude Joseph didn't win election. People put confidence in them and the policy of the government that they have, even if they shut them out when the policy was made, they are equally responsible. The policy that the NDC have is hostile towards people in the lower income group. The NDC always like that. But like everybody else, we give them a blight. And I was not surprised, but I was slightly disappointed. Because the NDC have a history of hostility against people in the lower income group. But these 9 members were successful. The package they sold, people believe it. They lied to the people. So I'm not concerned about Claude Joseph. The public rejected her. But these other 9 members, they are the true vultures. You cannot be a dumb, driven cattle in an organization and expect not to be blamed. So my concentration is on the 9 members of NDC who won the seat, who sits in parliament, who helped to make laws, who agreed that the people should get their 150 in December and in January take it out. They did not speak. When the Minister of Foreign Affairs spoke about good people, none of them corrected them. I've heard NNP ministers corrected other ministers before. Younger ministers, they said, no, that is not good policy. When the minister, the agriculture minister in parliament talk about lunatics and idiots, I heard no correction from the 9. When the motivational speaker, and I'm certain that they agree, they were supporting him, talk about nasty people, they did not correct them. These are the 9 people that benefited from the increasing income. They're flying all over the world. Some of them bringing their spouse. You know how they like to say boyfriend and girlfriend in this big thing. Their spouse. And we come to the end of our program now. We right at the end. Yeah, we come to the end of our program, but we back with you again tomorrow, Wednesday. And Wednesday you have Political Wednesday. And then we come back. So, my brother, this is why I speak about the 9. You know, and thank you very much. Thank you very much for being with us today. Thank you.